What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So I had to do this video. In the words of Roy Jones, I didn't want to have to do this, but I have to do it now. All right. Too many people going in on Floyd Mayweather's resume. This whole notion between Floyd and Roy Jones, which is really sad and pathetic to me, is two all-time greats. Let them both be great in their own era, at their own time, in their own weight class, right? But a lot of people are now starting to try to dissect Mayweather's resume. I heard Roy Jones when he was saying, you know, don't when he was talking about Floyd, who is he fought? Don't bring up the guy that was going to jail the next day. He was talking about Diego Corrales and trying to take credit away from Floyd for that, which is not Floyd's fault. Floyd ain't got nothing to do with that. That's him. He still chose to fight. Floyd still has a duty to fulfill. But I'm gonna go ahead and get on the hypocrisies that goes on with Floyd's resume, right? And when I do this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up, because what happened, I just did a video recently talking about some of the stuff that you guys criticize Floyd for doing, but praise all-time greats like Sugar Ray Leonard for doing. I'm gonna have to do this on this video. So you best believe this video will get more dislikes than likes, but that's what happens when you tell the truth. Not everybody wants the truth, and it is what it is. Because some of the things, when you discredit Floyd's resume, you don't even realize you discredit your favorite fighter's resume as well. I'm gonna go ahead and speak on that. So first of all, it says, you know, I got to give a shout out to Knuckles and Gloves podcast. Yeah, obviously you can see them. I kept that there purposely, so you know they said Floyd's resume is fire. But the question was, does Floyd have does he have an all-time great resume? My answer to that question is yes. Now, I'm not even gonna, it's actually more fighters on here that I could even speak on that Floyd fought. You know, Sean Bay Mitchell and all them type of stuff. Janero Hernandez. You know, it's guys I can speak on, but I'm gonna just speak on these guys right here. Carlos Baldomir. It's guys that I can speak on, but I'm gonna just speak on these guys right here, right? Now, I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna start going from the left on over, right? With Shane Mosley. All right. Now, a lot of people say, okay, Shane Mosley was old when Floyd fought him, right? And I think Shane Mosley was like 37 or 38 years old, right? All right, cool. My bad, to take a drink. This is my wife's Powerade, but whatever. She'll be okay. All right, so Shane, I think Shane was 37 or 38 years old, right? Now remember the number 30, especially if he's 37. I want you to remember that number. Keep that number in your head. I'm gonna double back to a number close to that. But anyways, he was 37 years old or whatever, or 38. And people said, you know, Floyd fought Shane Mosley when Shane was old, right? Now here's the thing about it, right? Shane Mosley, if you guys remember, Floyd fought Marquez. Shane Mosley hopped in the ring. You know, we just want to make a big fight. They had their going back and forth. Many people like Brian Kenny from ESPN and many more people felt like Floyd had avoided Shane Mosley. Granted, fun fact, at 135, Floyd called out Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley declined to fight because he didn't want to fight at the time that Floyd was trying to fight him. Fun fact for you. But anyways, let's double back. So they said Floyd tried to, you know, Floyd was avoiding Shane or whatever the case may be, right? Now, Shane had just beaten Antonio Margarito and was supposed to fight, Andre Berto January of 2010. I believe he beat Margarito May of 2009, if I'm not mistaken. But it was in 2009 for sure. But he fought Andre Berto. He was supposed to fight Andre Berto January of 2010. Andre Berto, who is of Haitian descent, Haiti had some like massive earthquake at that time, and Andre Berto decided to fulfill his duties in Haiti or whatnot. You know, big shout out, big salute to Andre Berto, who's always been a stand-up guy. All right. So their fight kind of, you know, just it didn't happen. Floyd Mayweather at the time was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao March 13th of 2010, okay? And all of this that I'm speaking is off the dome, but you guys can fact. This is just how just how much I know boxing. He was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao March 13th or around March 13th. And man, you know, obviously the drug test fell through or whatever. The fight didn't happen. So what ended up happening? Shane Mosley and Mayweather fought May 1st of 2010. It was the day before my oldest daughter was born. All right. Shane Mosley had the WBA title, but I don't think I don't think Floyd wanted to fight for it. But anyways, I said that to say this: Shane Mosley was a world champion, and though Floyd chose not to fight for the WBA title, Shane Mosley was still a world champion. And I have a rule that's why I stay super consistent. You're not gonna find too many people more consistent than I am. Anytime you have a world champion, I don't care how old they are, I don't care how young they are, that is fair game. I don't care if you're 47. Bernard Hopkins was freaking 46, 47, 48. He was like 50 with a title. That's fair game for anybody that fights him because he's a world champion. But so when Bernard Hopkins fights Sergey Kovalev or anything like that, Sergey Kovalev gets no slack. But Bernard Hopkins was like 50 years old when he fought Sergey Kovalev, or almost. Sergey Kovalev gets no slack for that, right? But Shane Mosley has a title at the age of 38, and people all of a sudden want to give Floyd gets slack for that. Floyd doesn't get fair credit for that because Shane Mosley is quote unquote old. Now, was it Shane Mosley in his prime? No, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not oblivious to it. No, was it Shane Mosley in his prime? No. But however, Floyd still gets credit for that because Shane Mosley had a title. Shane Mosley had just beat the brakes off of Antonio Margarito, and he looked really good in that fight. And Floyd came and fought him. Yes, Floyd gets full credit for that. Now, I want to make something clear. Floyd does some stuff that I don't like and I don't agree with. I don't want it to make it seem like that I'm just like this, like a Mayweather fanboy. Even though I know some of you guys are gonna come up here and call me that only because I'm just speaking the truth. And if anybody has something to rebuttal that, we can definitely debate on here. My channel is open to anybody that disagrees, because just because you disagree with me doesn't mean that we have to, as long as you're not disrespectful of me, I don't care. Like, that's how you learn in the sport. You disagree, you tell your point, I might learn something. I'm telling my point, you might learn something. So I have no problem with debating anybody on this or whatnot. However, all right. So Shane Mosley, we talked about him. Next up, we have Canelo Alvarez. Now, this is the one that I really want to talk about. You remember that number I told you to think about, 37? All right, so here we go. Canelo Alvarez, a lot of people like to say, go run with this notion that Canelo Alvarez was too young for Floyd. He was a baby. He was only 23 years old. Remember that number 23 as well. And they don't like to give Floyd credit for beating Canelo Alvarez. Now, regardless of what you may say, Floyd's style, and then first of all, Floyd's style would give Canelo troubles any day of the week. Even the version of Canelo that you guys say that is his prime, Floyd's style is gonna always give that Canelo issue. Give Canelo issues, right? Now, here's the thing, though, right? You remember I told you to. And then, sidebar. And then people like to say, well, prime for prime, this Canelo would stop Floyd. Well, Canelo is at 168, and you're saying he's in his prime. Floyd walks around at about 160. Come on, bro. But anyways, you remember the number 37. I told you to keep the number in mind, right? You guys said Shane Mosley was old at 37 or 38 or whatever, right? Floyd was 36 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, right? And you guys that like to say that Canelo Alvarez was young, Canelo was 23. Now, here's the thing. Canelo was a unified champ going into that fight with Floyd Mayweather. I believe he had the WBC and the WBA. I think he took the title away from the WBA from Austin Trout, I believe. And again, all of this is off the dome, so y'all can fact check me, but I know he was a unified champion, right? What did I just say my rule was with champion? Anytime you're a champ, I don't care how young or how old you are, it's fair game. I don't care. It's no excuses. You can't use, Canelo was green. He was a unified champion or a world champion for sure. So anytime you see, that's why it pays to be consistent, bro. Because I use the same rule and it applies to everybody. He was a world champion. Furthermore, you guys like to say that he was young. Well, let's do some fact checks. Would you guys have given Lomachenko credit for beating Teofimo Lopez? Because Teofimo Lopez was 22 when he fought Lomachenko. Lomachenko was 32. Either 22 or... Teofimo was 22 when he fought Lomachenko. Lomachenko was 32 when he fought Teofimo. I don't hear any... Teofimo didn't have nowhere near the resume or the IQ or the experience that Canelo had at that point. Canelo had already been in there with Austin Trout. Like, you know, I think I don't even know the biggest name on... Tio did have some good wins, but Tio wasn't what Canelo was. But you guys had no problem with Teofimo fighting Lomachenko. You guys had no problem. Some of you old guys that like to say they had no problem with Oscar De La Hoya fighting Chavez, and Chavez was 33 when De La Hoya was fought him when he was 22. You guys had no problem. As a matter of fact, some people say Chavez was old, past his prime. I can agree with that. He's past his prime, but all of a sudden everybody has an issue with Floyd fighting a 36-year-old Floyd fighting a Canelo, a 23-year-old Canelo Alvarez. Like, where does that make sense at? Okay, and then here's for the catchweight buddies. Take a drink real quick. This what I'm finna say next is for you guys that like to go in about Floyd fighting Canelo at a catchweight. If you're gonna go off of that, if you're gonna criticize Floyd for fighting Canelo at a catchweight, then how many victories is taken away from Canelo Alvarez? Because I don't know anybody that fought more catchweights than Canelo Alvarez. Anybody. How do you criticize Floyd for fighting Canelo at a catchweight, but then you give Pacquiao credit for fighting Cotto? How does that make sense? When you bring up Manny Pacquiao, why is Manny Pacquiao such a star? All he beat guys like Miguel Cotto. How do you criticize Floyd for fighting Canelo Alvarez, Floyd being the smaller fighter, moving up and fighting Canelo Alvarez at a catchweight, but you give Manny Pacquiao credit for beating Miguel Cotto? I'm gonna just let y'all ponder on that. We're gonna move on to the next. Diego Corrales, undefeated, 33-0. I believe he was 33-0 with 27 knockouts, something like that. Bigger, taller fighter than Floyd. Had legal issues. So we're gonna take that away? If we're gonna take that, bro, what's his name? Tim Bradley said it best. No fighter really comes in a fight at 100%. So if we're gonna use that notion, then how many, like, what, that don't even make, like, what is Floyd supposed to do? Not fight Diego Corrales? That's not his fault. And that was honestly one of Floyd's greatest, if not his greatest performance. Flawless. Ricky Hatton, Floyd beat him undefeated. Ricky Hatton just beat Juan Castillo. He stopped him in like the 4th round or something like that, right? And as a matter of fact, I know for a fact it was the 4th round, because I remember Ricky Hatton said you saw more in these 4 rounds. You seen more in these 4 rounds or you see more action in these 4 rounds than you seen in Floyd's whole career. So it was the 4th round. He stopped Jose Castillo, right? Somebody that many people perceived that beat Floyd in their first fight. And Floyd took him on. Floyd had him, you know, yes, he did have a title at 140. He moved up to fight Floyd at 147. All right, but then again, once again, how do you criticize Floyd for having Ricky Hatton move up if you're not going to criticize Canelo? I don't even got to go there. Crawford, Khan, I don't even got to go there. All right. Next up, Arturo Gatti. Now, I'm gonna be honest. That was just a flawless performance. And anytime, I don't care who you're fighting, when you have such a flawless performance, the way Floyd did against Arturo Gatti, that's a beautiful thing to see. But I'm gonna be honest, and although I think Arturo Gatti is in the Hall of Fame, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I bring up Floyd's resume, Arturo Gatti is not like a top name that I bring up, because I think Arturo Gatti was a very tough fighter. He was there to fight, but he's just not a great, in my opinion. I don't bring up Arturo Gatti. Oscar De La Hoya. I remember when Manny Pacquiao beat De La Hoya, everybody was just like, "Oh, this is such a great thing." But Floyd moved up to his first fight at 154, fights De La Hoya. Now, I thought I had Floyd winning that fight. I had Floyd winning 8 rounds to 4, and the reason why I had Floyd winning that fight, because De La Hoya just stopped jabbing. He stopped throwing his jab, and I later found out that De La Hoya had hurt his arm or whatnot. But, well, according to him. But De La Hoya was giving Floyd a lot of trouble with that jab. It wasn't giving Floyd anything to counter, really. But De La Hoya said he hurt the jab or whatnot, hurt his arm or whatever. It was the arm. I don't think it was his hand. It was his like shoulder or something like that. Whatever. Floyd won the fight. He moved up to beat De La Hoya. All right. Marcos Maidana just came off of the Adrian Broner fight or whatever. You know, some people say Maidana won the first fight. I don't think so, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Floyd fan. I know how to score a fight, and I had Floyd. It was close, but I had Floyd winning, and then Floyd stopped all speculations in the second fight. Manny Pacquiao. People say Floyd waited for Manny Pacquiao to get old. Granted, Floyd Mayweather is 2 years older than Manny Pacquiao. I fought both fighters for that. I don't just fault Floyd for the fight not happening with Pacquiao. All right, Pacquiao didn't want to do the random blood and urine testing or whatnot. Floyd was trying to implement that. My whole thing, I've had this whole thing was like, bro, if you're not doing anything dirty, then why not take the test? We've had so many since Floyd has implemented Olympic style drug testing to the sport. You see how many people have been doing it, and you see how many people have been getting caught during count. Like, think about it, bro. That changed the game for the better. And I always felt like if Pacquiao was, and then like for one of Manny, and this is a fact, you guys can go search all of this. One of Manny Pacquiao's requests was not to be tested 3 weeks before the fight. And if they do test him, at first it was a month, but then it was 3 weeks. But and if they were requesting if they do test that they need to be notified. Well, then what's the point of it being a random blood and urine testing if they're going to be notified? No. Now I fought Floyd because Floyd tried to give Manny Pacquiao a flat fee of $40 million, and Floyd wanted all pay-per-view proceeds. That's BS. You crazy? Imagine if Pacquiao would have took that. They did 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, right? Imagine if Pacquiao would have just took 40 million, and that would have gave Floyd Floyd would have walked away. Floyd walked away with like 200 million that fight. Floyd would have walked away with about 260 million. That's crazy. No, like that. Floyd was tripping off that. That's why I thought Floyd was wrong here. Zab Judah, although Zab Judah did just come off of a loss to Carlos Baldomir, I think the fight was close or whatnot, but Zab Judah, one of the only fighters one of the few fighters that was actually faster than Floyd. Southpaw, and in his prime. Zab Judah was in his prime. Jose Luis Castillo. Many people feel like Floyd lost the first fight. Guess what Floyd did? Ran it back with him. And Jose Luis Castillo had a fight in between his rematch with Floyd. All right. Floyd cleaned that up. It's funny when I bring up Triple G versus Canelo, bro. I felt like Triple G should have won that first fight. Oh, that's old. Why are you bringing up old fights? But then you would talk about Floyd, people will say, oh, he lost to Jose Luis Castillo. But me bringing up Triple G versus Canelo, that's old. All right. Juan Manuel Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez moved up to fight Floyd at a catch weight. Floyd missed weight. People are upset about because Marquez was at 135. He moved up to fight Floyd. All right. How many of y'all had that same energy towards Canelo and Terrence Crawford? The ones that don't like Canelo versus Terrence Crawford, this ain't for you. You speaking the truth. But the ones that don't have no problem with Canelo Alvarez fighting Terrence Crawford, where's that energy at then? And Marquez was ranked number 2 in the pound for pound. Miguel Angel Cotto. Floyd moved up to 154 to fight Cotto. Oh, Cotto was past his prime, they say. He fought a past his prime Cotto. Cotto that just avenged his loss to Margarito. Well, if that's the case, then how does Pacquiao get credit for half the big names that he's fought? De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Ricky Hatton. Nah, he gets full credit for Ricky Hatton. I don't care what nobody say. De La Hoya, Shane Mosley. He gets credit for those guys. But Floyd, how does Canelo get credit for beating Cotto? When you bring up some of the biggest names Canelo's fought, he gets credit for beating Cotto. But Cotto was old when Floyd fought him. He was old when Floyd fought him, but Canelo gets credit for beating him. How does that make sense? It doesn't. It doesn't. And with that being said, checkmate. Beautiful Sunday. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Floyd Mayweather definitely has a great resume, regardless of what any fighter says. It just is what it is. Let the man be great. Stop hating on him. Jealousy is a bad thing. But what do I know?